Hey everybody, Tammy here with Forever Altered. I was thinking back to when I came up with that name and how true it is that when you're involved with a narc, you are forever altered. Your perceptions and your thoughts, I don't know if you can ever get away from that version of yourself that you've created. Anyway, my topic today isn't going to be super straightforward and clear because I really have a lot of things on my mind. Mainly the phrase came to me the other day just because of my own situation. Breaking this silence is not the same thing as drama. I often do a lot of investigating, which I've shared that with you numerous times. And I think it's a normal when a normal person is confronted with all of this abnormal behavior and reactions and actions. It's normal for you to investigate. It's normal for you to reach out in every way possible to try to make sense of your world and to make sense of these things. And I know for my own journey, I did that. I still do it. But in the beginning, when I dealt with narcissistic rage from my narc, I was so off guard. I was completely blown away that any human being could be so cruel to another human being, especially one that they claimed to love. And it was very difficult for me to understand and comprehend. And so I did a lot of research, and literally that's how I came up with the term narcissist. I put in, a list of these behaviors that I was seeing, and it came back narcissist. I had never heard the term before. I guess maybe I'd heard it, but I didn't really know what it meant. I had no preconceived notion of it. And then once that term came up and I started reading about it, and I was frightened. I didn't want it to be true. And I think that's what fueled and still fuels my desire to learn about narcissistic behavior and PD and the spectrum and so forth. And in so doing, I have turned over every rock, as I'm sure a lot of you have also done. And you're trying to reconcile everything in your head and really trying to be sure that it's not you, because normal people, empathic people like us, don't have these kinds of problems. So when we see someone telling us about us and about how they view us as so different from any experience we've ever had, any feedback we've ever had from anybody, there's a lot of attempts to rationalize everything. So in my journey, I did everything. I researched everybody or everything about narcissism. Then I contacted ex-girlfriends that I tracked down people to try to find out information about him, mostly to see if the threats that he was saying to me he would actually do. Like, well, did he ever do this to you? And I got enough information that I should have turned and ran right then. I mean, I should have literally turned and ran right then, but for whatever reason I didn't. But one of his exes she said, never contact me again. I don't want anything to do with him. I don't want him to, have any way to get a hold of me. And she has a child with him. So that should tell you something. However, I still was hanging in there and stuck in the situation, and maybe thinking I could fix this person, and, having my daughter with him, and then seeing what I feel like or felt like was actual love for her. I'm thinking maybe this will be the catalyst to make him see his error in his ways and all this stuff. So I kept plugging away, but yet I kept still experiencing his rage and his accusations and all these things. So then I went and I put the spyware on his phone, which I mentioned before, and I found out that he had been cheating, like the entire relationship. He'd been cheating, basically. And in particular, one person he had actually seen since she was born. So within the first year of our relationship, he started this relationship with this other person, and he continued it on until I caught him. Then he said he wanted to end it all along, and all this stuff. But anyway, I met with her. I actually got a hold of her, and I asked to meet with her, and she met with me, and I got all my questions answered from her angle, from her perspective, and this is me. This is what I do. I can't help myself but to investigate and to push the boundaries and to, out him, I guess I want to say, which obviously does not go over well with a narc. Years ago, when I was still pregnant with my daughter and he was so rageful, and I was, I'm 52, I was 47 when I got pregnant. I was very shocked. I was 100 pounds heavier than I am right now already. When I got pregnant, I was not in good health, and I struggled, really struggled. I mean, I struggled physically to get through the pregnancy. So you can imagine the extra stress of dealing with him was unbearable. Like, I just kept thinking, I was helpless and I couldn't get myself out of the situation. Of course, then when she's born, it's even worse because now I have a newborn and I'm, this in this health and so forth. So, but at that point, I found his mom's number because his mom doesn't live in the state. She lives far away, but I found the number and I contacted her. I texted her and I said, I don't know what to do. I said, I've asked him to leave. He's rageful. He's accusatory, all the same stuff that I'm still saying to this day. And she's kind of offering help, but in retrospect, I mean, she said things like, well, was he like this before you found out you were pregnant? Like, is that the catalyst? And she knew her son. She knew damn well that he was like this all the time. That was him. And she revealed a little here and there, and she sort of helped me to understand. She told me his father was schizophrenic, which I think was a big piece of the puzzle, and I should have known. So he would have never told me that, but she did. So it was worth it to me to make that contact. But I stopped. One day, it got so bad, I told her, I said, I may have to call the police. I don't know what else to do. And she never responded. And that was my cue. Back off. So, now here it is. My daughter's born. She's going to be 4 in a couple of months. So this, 4 years plus down the road. And his family had come to visit him over the last summer. And, his grandmother passed away. So they all came to her house, which is about a half hour away. And he was supposed to take us to meet his family, and he opted to wait till I left to go to the store and took off with our daughter and went to meet with his family without me. And of course that hurt my feelings, and he had all kinds of excuses and so forth. And but the bottom line is he needed to keep that separation. Well, after that, they started. I ended up being friends with them on Facebook, with his sisters. 2 sisters on Facebook. And the older one and the younger one, I think one sent me a friend request and I sent the other one, I can't remember, but it was a nice way for them to see pictures of their niece. And there wasn't much, other than liking each other's pictures and so forth, and a few comments here and there, but nothing of a personal nature. Until probably a month ago, when he started spiraling out of control again, and I opted to talk to his sister and tell her everything. And I just needed something. I don't know what I needed. I mean, in retrospect, I don't know what I expected, but I felt like and this is what I said to her. I said, I need to talk to someone about him, and it needs to be somebody that I know is not going to judge him, that's just going to know his past and know how he is, and that I can talk to. And she responded and she said, I've had my struggles in my marriage and blah 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 and all this, and yes, I know. And and he had said for years, well, my mom thinks and my sisters think, and he would always pit them against me, even though we'd never met and never had any conversations. He would always make it sound like I was the odd man out, and his family was backing him in the idea that I should learn to give up, not be so angry if he gets mad and he has one of his rage sessions. I should forgive him sooner, and just always wanted to minimize his responsibility, and he needed reinforcement. So he needed the triangulation of his family to be on his side, and so he would always say things like that. And it got to be where, even after his sisters were on my Facebook, he started saying that about their husbands too. Well, my sister's husband is laughing at you and doesn't understand what, and he kept saying these things. And so one day recently I had enough, and his sister was quite kind to me, and I talked a little bit here and there, but she never really checked on me. She would never say, hey, are you okay? Are things any better? But if I reached out to her, she would respond. And I said, and I explained why I was talking to her. I said, I can't really talk to my family, because they hate him enough as it is. I just need somebody that can be objective. So, hoping that she and I could exchange some information, I guess, that would help me to understand him. I guess that's what I was thinking. Well, anyway, one day, a few weeks ago, he was doing his normal routine, and he was shouting at me and saying, my family, and I said, I know better. Well, when I said I know better, basically that tipped him off that I had conversations about him with somebody, and he assumed correctly that it was his older sister, and he called her and yelled at her. And she never said anything to me, and a day or so went by, and finally I messaged her and said something, and she said, because he said to me, she thinks you're stupid if you don't believe it. Look, she's defriended you on Facebook. So I looked, and she hadn't defriended me. So I thought, okay. So when I contacted her, she said, please don't tell him we're still friends. He told me that I had to delete you. And, it's like all this. This is his sister. He's expecting to have a life with me, and this is his sister, his family. And once again, he wants to make the wedge so big, because he wants to control the flow of information. That's obvious. But so I said, okay, I understand. I said, thank you, take care. And I thought, I'm just not going to talk to her. I just stopped talking to her. Well, from that point on, he became obsessed with this fact, and he harassed his sister to the point that she blocked me from Facebook. I looked, his other sister defriended me, but she didn't block me. But I'm thinking, are they his flying monkeys, or are they that afraid of him? Because he's been out of, their realm of closeness for years, like 25 years or something. They have not had to deal with him in that many years. And so I don't know, but here's what she posted something before she blocked me on her Facebook, and it said drama, 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 something or other. Why can't people just be happy? And I've reflected on that because how we obsess over every little thing. And I came up with the whole idea that victims are shamed when they try to ask for help. Here we are trying to ask for help. I'm going to his family who knows him way better than I do, or they should. And she even said to me, I'm worried about your safety. So she knows that I could be in danger, and yet she chose to block me from Facebook and from any way to contact her. So she knows I'm in danger and that her niece could be possibly in danger. But rather than have to deal with him, she has blocked access to her from me. And I'm just thinking, and you called it drama, and you said it was drama. And I don't know what I expected. Like I said, when you're contacting your narc's family, and of course he was furious about it, and I guess it's because he he thinks he has to have someone on his side. Like, it's about being on a side. And my family is not that way. I mean, granted, the stuff he's done is blatantly bad, and there's not any family that's going to look at it and be like, oh, no, that was okay. I still, but my family would want the best, and they would be trying to encourage him to seek change, seek help, this type of thing. They would never shut him out. They would never, and that's what his family did. So, and I'm bothered by the fact that his flow of information that he wants to give them is incorrect. He was caught cheating, not just cheating, but meeting girls in motels that he had never even met before. He was caught having a long-term relationship with a girl that he's called every name under the sun, but he was with her. All these things, and he keeps trying to say that I did it too. Like he just has to have a company. Like, misery loves company. And so I know he's told his family this, and I've discussed with his sister that he keeps saying it. But the idea that now he has smeared me to his family and said untrue things is really hard to deal with. And I guess this is one of the things that we have to be prepared to do, and be prepared to let go of and walk away from. And that is that we can't please everybody. And there are some people that are going to take their side, that are going to believe the lies that they're telling. He has an obsession with my phone. I'm always on my phone. My phone has a lock on it. It has a lock on it because I am, a couple of reasons. I work for a very big name company that does taxes nationwide. Okay, and I have contacts on there. I have a Slack room where I can go straight in and be talking to these people, and it has information about people's tax returns on it. However, I also am an adjunct instructor, and the college that I am an instructor for requires that my phone have a lock on it. In fact, when I got into their email and got it to my phone, it was part of the process. It set it up automatically, and I truly don't even know how it did it. But my phone has like Duo Mobile push things on it, where when I'm logging into the tax software, I have to have, it's all these security measures. That's why my phone has a lock on it. And I also have my own banking stuff on there, but he has been told the code oftentimes. I wrote the code down. I have it posted. I have told, because I'm not trying to hide anything. And when my son died, all of his codes and passwords, we didn't know any of them, so we couldn't get into anything. His computer was no good, his phone, everything. We couldn't get into anything. So I've learned through that experience to leave a trail so it's easy to find. So that's why I don't hide my code. But he had sent me a picture of a conversation, a screenshot that he'd had with his mom, to try to back off from the whole I've messed up because my whole family is, in this now, and said, my family doesn't take sides. See? And he sent me this picture, but his mom had commented about the phone, and he had told her that I have a code on my phone, a lock on my phone, and he's always had a lock on his phone, remember, but she said, if she has a lock on her phone, that just makes her look bad, not you. So he's slanted this lock on my phone for security reasons from a grown-up person who has, job responsibilities perspective into something that's nasty. This is typical. This is so typical of narcissistic behavior and his flow of communication. But it brings me back to the whole point of this, and that is we're trying to break the silence. We're trying to reach out for help, and we're blocked everywhere we go because they want to control the information, and they don't want, they want to keep everybody apart so that the only information they're provided is what is given to them by the narc. The only information I'm provided about the other side is what I'm given by the narc. And I'm surprised that a family member who knows they're dealing with somebody with serious mental issues would react that way and would call it something as simple as drama. And yes, it may look like drama. It may look like drama to people that really don't comprehend what's going on. But to a family member who has had a lifetime of seeing this person melt down and scream and have in and out of legal trouble and have, numerous restraining orders and all of this history, and to think that they would simplify it to the level of drama, to me is just victim shaming, and it's sad. So I guess we need to rise above that feeling and know in our hearts that we're correct and we're right. And if they don't like it, and they don't like being outed, and they don't like being told on, or have the reality and the facts come out, like when I'm recording him and like I'm sticking it on my YouTube channel. I know somebody asked if I was worried that he might see it, and part of me is worried. Maybe, I don't know. He's not interested in self-growth, so he's never going to look up a topic like that, no matter what. And he's not interested in what I have to say or do enough to try to look me up, so, I don't know. I leave a trail. That's what I said, was I think about leaving a trail. I'm leaving a trail in case something does happen to me, because he's threatened me many times when, we get to the point where I'm so sick of it, I can't stand it. And I've been there so many times, it's not even funny. But anyway, so that's my thought. Just persevere, and we need to learn to give up the toxic hope that we seem to cling to, and to break the trauma bonds. And narcs are predators. They really are. And just like a shark, they can, they can smell a little drop of blood in the water. A narc can spot an empathic, caring, giving individual and rake them in, wrangle them in, however you want to say it, into their little web of deceit. So anyway, that's all. That's my rant. Sorry for making it be a rant today. Tax season is now officially coming to a close, so I'm hoping to start pulling together some informative videos that actually, hopefully will be geared to help us press on and kick the narcs out of our lives. God bless you all. Have a great day. Take care.